G'day guys, welcome back to Beers and Break-Evens for round 19, brought to you by Blue Wealth Property. They've got a couple of events coming up over the next few weeks. Two tonight actually, one in Melbourne, Wealth Through Property. That's kicking off at 6:30 p.m. from South Bank. And then for you Northern Beaches people over there, you've got DY tonight, 6:30. So if you would like to reach out to the team and join in the fun tonight, hit the link in our bio. Then we've got at Borkham Hills on the 19th of July, 6:30 p.m. And then live at Sydney Olympic Park on the 25th of July. So we'll have more information coming on those events very soon. I've had a lot of people who've done plenty of work through Blue Wealth Property this year, and it has been fantastic. A lot of happy customers there. So reach out to the team or reach out to myself. Reach out to Timmy. He's in England. He'd love to get messages from you guys about how to get in contact with Blue Wealth Property right now. So send him as many as you can, and we'll send you in the right direction. Speaking of Timmy, as I said, not here this week. So I get to bring in my 5'8", and I introduce Timmy as my 5'8" every week. But Timmy's a bit like Daniel Fitzhenry. He's a winger. Occasionally he plays 5'8", and you go, you're not really a 5'8", though. Now I get to bring in the real one, the Spy. Welcome, mate.
Guru, good to be on board, mate. Just the first thing I thought, actually, is your voice is even more impressive in real life. Booming, so it's good to be here, mate. Like, I've only been here, 1 minute we've been on, and it already feels just a bit more relaxed than, the dictatorship that is the playbook. It's like I've been unshackled already.
He's too uptight, T. Williams. We've got to have some fun, and when we will today, mate. Now, mate, obviously, your history, you've been part of the SC Playbook for quite some time. I'm sure that everyone's well and truly aware of you. How's SuperCoach going this year, mate?
Yeah, mate. Life's going well. SuperCoach, not so much at the moment. It's just one of them things that happen in sport. Can't get it right all the time, so I'm down to, history-wise, been with the Playbook, what did it start, 2-3 years ago, so it's been really good stuff. Managed to come top 100 2 years ago. Back end of last year, I was eyeing a top 100 back-to-back until Joey Manu decided against that. How good. And poor old little Pappenhausen, so it was a dark weekend. But this year, mate, just can't get going.
It's a weird year, though, isn't it?
I got up to 5K about 3 weeks ago. I'm in free fall at the moment, down to 13,000. So some work to do, mate. But as always, we'll stick at it.
It's funny, as you said you're at 5K 3 weeks ago. Now you're at 11. You're at 13. I was at 11 3 weeks ago. Now I'm at 5K. It can change so quickly. And I think this weekend is going to be bigger than what we ever imagined. Some of the outs and Origin and just Brad Fittler in general.
Absolute madness, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, mate, it's wild. I can't believe how it's played out. And I've dodged a lot of bullets. So I'm excited about this weekend.
I was actually walking down the hallway before I heard someone mutter that even Don Bradman had a couple of dark tests. So I wasn't sure if they were directly referencing me when they saw me or not, but I feel like I'll take that on board.
I saw you talking to yourself out there. That was I'll back that.
I thought he looked familiar. I was in the mirror.
Whatever you're going to do, I'm all for it. Guys, so round 19, we've got a stack to get into today, and we will kick off with the team list for this week. We'll go through our scores and ranks. So you're at 13K, I'm at 5,000. I scored 1,601 on the weekend, so I had a very, very good weekend. Managed to wrangle in Timmy quite a bit, who's sitting with a rank of 4,200. So there is now a grand total of 105 points separating me and Tim. So old Scotty Guru Sutler's managed to wrangle him in a little bit. Here he comes. Yeah, you can hear the footsteps. He's nervous, T. I don't know if he'll come back, to be honest with you. He might stay over there. But we have got the trophy, which I thought it'd be great to give to the Spy this week. Just looks great sitting on the desk there. So I'm getting closer to it. And for you guys, as you know, you're playing for the Stallion. And as you guys know, our little mate fell off the Stallion a few weeks ago, and I blame Matty the Waterboy. And he, in typical Matty the Waterboy fashion, as per the bomb catching challenge, refused to take any responsibility for his actions. Then he rings me the other day. He goes, "Mate, you're not going to believe this. I just knocked over the trophy for the first time, and I've actually broken it." So as you can see, his head's missing. His feet have come off. So I personally think it adds character. So the person that does win this, you're probably getting the Headless Horseman Stallion here. So, yeah, shout out to Matty the Waterboy.
It shows guts. Playing without a head or riding without a head.
Doesn't ever.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
And I think, Matty said that he knocked it over. I think someone passed it to him, and knowing Matty's catching skills, I'm sure he just went to fucking water and it hit the deck. So shout out to Matty the Waterboy. We still hate you. Making life very, very difficult for us. If you can get into his DMs or you can comment on his Instagram post, give him some shit about breaking our trophy. Teamless Tuesday. Shorter week this week, obviously bye round, a heap of teams out and whatnot. We kick off Thursday night, 7:50 p.m. from CommBank Stadium. We've got the Tigers taking on the Sharkies for the Tigers. Bateman back on the edge for Noah Pole, back at lock. Mate, how do we feel about Bateman on the edge?
Yeah, I mentioned on the Playbook podcast last night, I think in the end, probably works out well for owners. I like him in the middle in the fact that he's going to be in everything. He gets more ball, but just for the side, it's going to strengthen that edge up again. Fanua Pole's fantastic in the middle. So I think if your side's doing better, your players are going to do better. It's as simple as that. Less time, hopefully, standing under the posts. He guarantees him 80 minutes, we didn't get last week. So I think you take the win, mate.
That was a big part of the problem last week, wasn't it? He spent most of his time standing under the sticks.
That's it. You can't score points standing there. That's it.
Makes life very hard. For the Sharkies, Toby Rudolph back in. You've obviously got Dale Finucane, who's going to miss a couple of weeks. Cam McInnes, he jumps back into jersey 13. Let's move to the Dragons v Raiders, the only game on Friday night, 8 p.m. coming to you from Wollongong. For the Dragons, Sloan out. Turner into fullback, a name that I didn't expect to see pop up this week or this year, if I'm being completely honest. Sort of come from the clouds, Paulie Turner. But shout out to him. He's been a bit of a journeyman. Keen to see him get an opportunity, one that I didn't see coming. Moses Sully, he jumps back into the centres. For the Raiders, mate, Mariota at lock. I love the look of this kid.
Yeah, exciting.
Big bit of gear. Keen to see him go around. And then in huge news, well, not huge news, it's been the same last few weeks, but Kotrick and Starling on the bench once again. No Horsburgh. It's Joe Tapano season, baby. How good?
I wouldn't say he's quite back, but he's very close. He's looking like his first meat pie of the season, just around the corner, mate.
Yeah, if he was a volcano, they would have evacuated the town this week. It's coming.
And if you didn't, you probably have to bunker down because it's too late.
It's going to be a tough gig for you. You're going to be ash
You
very,
won't get
very
the
soon.
ferry out of that town.
No, you're in Curry. All right, Saturday, 5:30, got the Eels taking on the Warriors at CommBank Stadium. For the Eels, Russell at 1, Lume on the wing, Ryan Madison at 6, my boy, the ass man, Assy at 7, and then on the bench, Joe O and Sean Lane. Probably the biggest talking point here, mate. Obviously, Mitch Moses out. We saw that coming, but Guppo snatched from the clouds.
Oh, give me something to cheer about, that's for sure. Because I don't
You don't own him, do you? How good.
So I got away with one there. Same with Cody. We'll get to that in a minute. But a few things have gone my way this weekend. That's definitely one of them because he was going to be tough to watch again. On the
Very
back of
tough.
3 tons.
Yeah, for sure. For the Warriors, nothing really outside of SJ. He's in doubt. I believe he's got a baby due this week. So if SJ is out, mate, there's so many more It feels like a lot of dominoes have fallen, but there's a lot more that could be chaos. We were saying before, like, you could have had 14 players for this round 2 weeks ago. And now you could be down to 6 or 7. If everything has gone wrong, if you've got so many of these guys, it could really hurt you.
Real bad. And even like, Tuesday morning, you could have been like, I got 14, 15. You could now have 11. That could go to 10. Yeah. So I think the big thing is don't panic because you're not alone.
You're not alone. Sure. Yeah, and that's going to be a big theme, which we'll talk about soon. Do not panic. But yeah, if you're SJs, your Marshall Kings, your Tafares, if these dominoes start to fall, chaos. Bunnies versus Bulldogs, late game Saturday night coming from a course stadium. For the Bunnies, no Richie Kennar, another little kick in the dick for all of you out there, which is great to see. Isaiah Tass back in. Ty Munro holds his spot off the back of his fantastic debut last week. Hawkins in the 6, Havili in the 9. The edges, Benny Lovett and Michael Cheekham, and Shaq Mitchell lines up in jersey 13. For the Doggies, they made a couple of changes this week. Avarillo, he jumps into the fullback role. Braden Burns comes into the centres. Toby Sexton. What are your thoughts on that signing, mate? I don't mind it for Canterbury.
I think it's important they do something. Obviously, got a couple of young halves there that are probably going to be pretty handy, but they're just so young at the moment. We've seen what happens to young sides at the moment with week in, week out NRL, and there's like 9 rounds left. They need to get something happening, just some stability. And Sexton, obviously, he's shown some promise. He's still young, so if you're going to sign anyone, you get a halfback with promise. And hope over the coming years. I mean, don't expect miracles early, obviously. So he's not going to come in and fix everything. It's still a young roster, but moving forward could be a shrewd little signing. Yeah,
I sat there yesterday and I was like, geez, I like it that, they need a bit of experience there. So they've got a more experienced guy. Then I sat there and went, he's playing game 25 on the weekend.
Which it's all relative, but it shows where the Dogs are at the moment from a youth perspective.
Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, Toby Sexton, the Sex Pistol, comes in, and RFM in jersey 13. Last game of the week, Sunday Arvo, we have got the Gold Coast Titans taking on the Dolphins from Seabus Super Stadium on the GC. Titans Campbell at fullback. We've got the little brothers of Tino and Payne stepping up into the starting team. One guy to keep an eye on making his debut. A couple of Titans birdies have been talking about him. Alec off the bench. So one to watch there. Handy guy. A little bit older, mate. 23 years old. I know it's not prehistoric, but it's great to see guys that aren't 18, 19 getting a gig, finding their way in.
Yeah, it shows they've earned it, and look, it makes a difference. They played against the boys for a long, the men, not just the boys. So it all helps, doesn't it?
It's one thing I love when you see guys that come into first grade that obviously didn't have the silver spoon at age 20 put in their mouth, have had to work for it. I love that. For the Finns, Ewan Aitken and Tafare in the centres, Branko Lee on the extended, Lemuelu on the edge, Milford on the bench, but mate, those four guys, Aitken, Tafare, Branko, Lemuelu, these dominoes, if they fall, it could impact your team all over the place.
Yeah, there's plenty going on at the Dolphins. Really interesting to see how Bennett gets them through the rest of the season. Yeah. If you're a Connolly Lemuelu owner, like your boy, hopefully it's 80 this week and 80 for the rest of the season, but to see him on an edge is fantastic. But yeah, a bit to unfold there. He's got options, Wayne. Yeah. So, yeah, decision time.
I think Lemuelu is a really interesting one. Like, Wayne praised him non-stop the entire season, but I think him and Hosking this year are just really good examples of just how hard first grade is,
absolutely.
how much of a toll it takes. Very tough in your first full year of first grade to come in on the edge there. So, yeah, if Branko does come in, does he come in for Tafare and does he become a problem? Or does he come in for Aitken and he moves to the back row and you lose Connolly Lemuelu? It's a tough one.
It's a bit early for that in the pod. Don't throw
very early, but that's the hard thing as well. It's the last game of the week. You're not going to know until the back end.
The thing is, at least Connolly should get minutes off the bench.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not ideal, but...
Not ideal. Yeah. Yeah, an interesting one to watch how that plays out. So, yeah, guys, they are your team lists for this week. Mate, round 19 this week, round 20 next week. I think it's two of the most important weeks of the season just based on how people handle them. Trades are getting low. People are getting desperate. But I think my message to people is, yes, they're important weeks, but there's still 7 to go after this. Just keep that in mind.
7's a long time, so it's really hard to determine how many trades you might need for those last 7 weeks.
How many have you got left?
I've got 11 coming this week.
Coming into this week?
Yep, coming into this week. So if I run you through my side, mate, there's basically 4 people that I need to get back. So I need 1 downgrade. I just have to. That's where Munro comes in. Beauty. That's super. I need Cleary back. I need Fafita back. And whilst I really like Damien Cook, and I'd be happy to run with him, doesn't play this week, doesn't play around 20, and doesn't play around 26, I believe.
26,
so if you've got Sonny Luke on the bench like I do, you need a hooker.
Oh, you still got Sonny Luke?
Yeah, I'm in that situation. It's not worth a trade and money and throw everything out to get rid of him. He can sit there, hopefully not play at all.
I will say this. I took the same approach for 15 weeks, and when I did trade him, I slept better at night. Food tasted better. Everything was just fantastic.
I can tell you, I sleep better if he's in New South Wales Cup doing some damage because there's no AE problem there. So I need Harry Grant in. Yeah. He's got no buys following Origin. I'll lock him in for the rest of the year. If injury hits, I'll deal with it. But if he could just play the last 7 weeks, Sonny's not an issue. So that's beautiful. So yeah, that gets me down to 7 trades before anything else happens.
Yeah.
So whilst 11 seems like it's probably okay, it's not really. And I'm not going to be the only one there. People have less than me. Yeah. People have more than me. But there's one other pressing matter that's really hurt me. It hasn't hurt me from a rugby league sense because I love the bloke. Yeah. It's Kalen Ponga. Yeah. KP, back to his best. Now he's goal kicking and all of a sudden he looks like a must.
Yeah, I've had him the last few weeks. It's funny, a few weeks ago, I think in the same week, I made the decision to bring in KP, and then I made a shotgun decision on the Sunday afternoon to get rid of Sonny Luke. Brought him in for Jacob Little, who, granted, has been lucky in this period, but he's gone 65, 66, 54, which at hooker at the moment is fucking gold.
It's magic.
It's been fantastic. I watch him play. I was saying before, I watch him play, and I watch him have a try assist every week. And he still only manages to get 54 or 60. And then with 20 minutes to go, I watch him come off the field for fucking Moses and by. It's the most frustrating thing in the world. But he's scoring okay, and Hooker is just a wasteland this year. So I've got him and Grant. I think I'd probably run with them.
Yeah.
I don't see myself changing him now.
Just do that, Lee. Like, it's to use the trades to do it, it's probably not worth it.
Not worth it.
And we will get to round 19 and 20. I'm just setting the scene here.
It's one hell of a scene to set.
What a scene.
It's a lot doing.
Call me director. KP, right? Yeah. So he's averaging, I don't have his exact average in front of me, but if you take out his 1 minute game against the Tigers early in the year when he got knocked out, I think it's reasonable to do that to gauge his form. Yep. He's averaging 80.1 on the season, and he's only goal kicked in one game.
His average right now is 73.
Yeah, so you add 7 for that knockout game, which, as I said, I'm happy to do because he played 1 minute, so it just doesn't reflect how well he's going.
Yeah.
If he goal kicks the rest of the games, let's just add 6 points. Nothing crazy, just 6 points.
Considering we added 44 on the weekend.
Yeah, exactly. It's
six.
Not much, so 6. That gets him to 86.
Yeah.
They have a very good run coming up. So that 6 points isn't going to be 6 every week. All of a sudden, you're into the 90, 95s, and his confidence is returning. He could average over 100. So now I'm like, shit, I need him.
Yeah, it's mate, it's worked out very, very well for me having KP. If you have a look at his run home, plays the Bulldogs round 24. Then he's got South Cronulla, which not ideal matchups. Both those teams are conceding points at the moment. And he plays the Dragons in the last week.
Yeah. And he's got Doggies in there again.
Yeah. He's got Tigers, he's got Dolphins, he's got Doggy. Yeah, like he's got
scored 180 without a try on the weekend. Like at the end of the game, he was just chilling because he didn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
So for me, that takes my 7 trades down to 5 because I need to because he made so much money. I need to fund that trade, so it's not looking good. And generally in this situation, I'd just go, you know what? I'll just ride without him. Let's antipod, see how we go. With that draw and those numbers and the fact I love him, I don't want to watch Caleb Ponga and hope he goes poorly. I want to enjoy him.
Yeah, exactly.
I love Caleb Ponga.
Fuck, he's enjoyable to watch. He is so enjoyable to watch. You know the other thing I love from the weekend, he obviously goal kicked. I think they had 1 try scored down the right edge. All the rest are on the left, so on the bad side for a left foot kicker. Didn't miss any.
His technique and strike as good as I've ever seen.
It was fantastic the other day. You could tell how confident he was lining them up. Unreal. So obviously Jacko Hastings has been goal kicking for the vast majority of the season, but mate, after 11 from 11, and I know what Jacko's like. He's not going to fight KP for it. Yep. He'll hold it now, I think, which is super exciting.
So so he becomes a must for me. That essentially leaves me with 5 trades to work with if I want to make trades for this round outside of Munro. I'm getting so. I'm lucky enough to already have 13 because I'm set myself up. 12 without SJ, so that becomes a factor. I'm going to assume I've got 10 for the sake of the listeners and say, what would I do?
Yeah.
5 trades, spare. Let's call them spare trades, 10 in hand. Let's use Teague Wilton as an example. 60-plus average.
Yep.
No more buyers. He's a keeper. Would I then go down to 4 spare trades in order to get Teague and 11 players? I would. I think it's worth doing because you're getting someone for around 19, 20 the rest of the season. He's a keeper. He can score well for you. So I don't mind locking in someone like that. Anyone outside that doesn't fit those boxes, I think I'd probably just run with 10, mate, to be honest.
And, mate, even I think Wilton's a good example. I'm not even confident he's safe for the rest of the year either.
Yep, it's borderline.
Something's got to happen on that defensive edge. If they're genuine about winning a premiership, they've got to sort out their defense. And I do wonder if Wilton could be the guy even to get less minutes for Wade.
Something has to happen.
Something has to happen. It's getting ridiculous on that edge. And obviously Matty Moylan brings so much in attack that I just wonder if Wilton will be the one the axe falls on.
Yeah, and it's a great point. It shows you the value of what you can do. So Teague's the example there. It might be someone else who fits that category. You go, I'm happy to use him and get to 11 players and stay with 4 trades. But any more than that, looking to get to 12 or 13 and go down to 3 and 2 trades, I think you just got to forget about it. Yeah.
It's one of
get
those
your side right for the rest of the season. Keep who you've got. The points will flow late. We've already noticed how much the younger sides are basically starting to get beaten up. So, 9 weeks left or something? It should only get worse.
Yeah, Barley gets closer and closer.
I just didn't anticipate how quickly it happened. It's like everyone was going well and then boom, off a cliff in 2 weeks. I thought it might be back end of the season. I might be able to look at it, but I missed about 14 of the 18 tons last week in those 2 games.
It is interesting. Have a look at the matchups this week, and I think there was a couple of teams that got flogged on the weekend. But if you go back to back floggings, geez, it's going to be hard to come back from. And I look at the Tigers, like they're at $8.50 against the Sharkies this week, full strength. They're in some serious curry. Even the Dragons going up against the Raiders without Corey Horsburgh. But
like Dragons,
thank God for the Dragons. The Raiders aren't the sort of team to put 30 points on. They'll beat you by 2 and nothing more. So hopefully, but yeah.
Chatting next week, and they've come off a 4-2 victory, grinded it out.
Yeah, it's wild times in this competition.
Sorry, 10-2 taps with a late try, obviously.
Don't tempt me.
And I'll tie something else into that, mate. Round 20,
Yeah.
Canberra and South both have a bye. So does St George. So DeBellin owners, Little owners.
Little owner.
Owner. That's going to potentially throw some carnage as well. Their
Sure.
origin backup. So, I mean, it just shows you that trade's become a premium. I will admit right now, I've probably used 3 or 4 more than I would have liked.
Yep.
What I didn't anticipate this year was a lot of real guns going down in a similar period. It's 2 trades to get in and out.
Yeah.
Normally, you can just let go of a guy, you don't have to bring him back. So that's really hurt me. Didn't anticipate it.
Yeah.
But round 20, you've got to have a look at that. So check your side for round 20 before you do any plans.
Tell you what, shit me to no end. I'm starting this weekend with 15 trades. I'm in a good spot.
Beautiful.
I've spent 2 trades in the last 2 weeks getting Nick Meaney in and getting him out. I just made a stupid decision, brought him in, and then I decided last week, you know what? You just got to take ownerships for your fuck-ups, and you've just got to get it sorted and get him out of there.
Ruthless.
Ruthless, yeah. But I look back now and go, fuck, I could have been sitting here with 16 trades if I didn't shit the bed completely.
It's still good, though.
That's good. Yeah, I'm very happy with where I am, but I keep thinking, my God, like...
Could have been 7.
Could have been so much better.
Yeah, for
Could have
sure.
been heaps better. But yeah, 15 trades going to this week. I think I will target a Sharky. I don't think it'll be Teague Wilton. I think it'll be the great Mulatalo out there. And
Yep.
you want to touch on him?
Yeah, I'll touch on just some tiers. I've done 2 tiers. Tier 1 is who I'll just absolutely be happy to get this weekend.
Yep.
1 is Mulatalo, probably top of the list,
Yep.
along with Nickera. He's flying. He had 6 runs last weekend and he nearly scored 7 tries. Yeah, geez, he was good. That line he runs and how hard he hits it. He's outside Nico. I'd nearly prefer Nickera over Mulatalo.
Is he the best right edge back row in rugby league at the moment, you reckon?
If you just look at attack, I think he nearly has to be, doesn't he? He's certainly gone past Olakawadu on current form.
Yep.
And it's not like he gets a heap of opportunity.
Yeah.
Sharks use the ball across all parts of the field. Like, as an owner, as a rugby league fan and Supercoach owner, every time he runs, it might be 7 or 8 times, you're going, oh, he could score, which is huge.
Yeah. And if he doesn't, like, whenever he doesn't get the ball, there's something on out the back of him.
Yeah.
You have to commit to him.
I'd hate to defend him.
Oh, mate, he'd be a nightmare to
Like,
defend.
hard and short, but then he did that in and away on Sewell last weekend. That was a thing of beauty.
You know what else he does really well, which I think is an underappreciated thing? You only realise it when it goes wrong. The amount of times he runs that line and never, ever causes an obstruction.
Yeah.
When do you ever see tries called back? Like, he's a smart footballer too. How many times do you see these tries go upstairs and the back rowers run into a half? Like, you go, fuck.
You're right, he just gets it right.
He just never does it. It's so good. I love him. Britton Nicola, absolute champion. Mate, Jermaine Osaka's another one here.
Yeah. I think he's tier 1, but if Valence Tafade stays inside him, not a noted passer, he's a ball runner. He would have spent his whole life running over blokes. That's fine. Fair play to him. But I mean, that tip on that Branko Lee was giving Osako, I think that's a game changer as to whether he becomes elite again for the rest of the year or stays there or maybe drops back to reasonable. He'll still be good.
I think there's another factor to it as well, which we spoke about last night with the weekly rubdown. That'll be coming out in the next few days. But they made a really good point that if Hamiso's at left centre, that has almost become that became the strike edge on the weekend.
It's a lot of footy on the left edge, isn't it? You go to hammer, yeah.
That's it. Like, you've now got to work out if Branko comes back, like for all of Branko's downfalls, catch and pass, I think he's one of the best in the league.
That's what he does.
Creates so much space for Jermaine Osako. But if you've got Hammer on the other side, I don't know. And you know what? I've never owned Osako in Classic, so I'm probably just hoping against hope here. But he's not a guy that I'll be buying now. I think I'm going to go without him.
Yeah, I'd prefer the other Sharkies guys over Osako if you don't own.
Yeah.
Osako does have Penrith and a bye coming up, but then he has a pretty good run. So if the Dolphins can keep playing some good attacking footy, which they very well could, his kicks goals, his work rate's reasonably, tackle busts, and I'll tell you what, when he gets a stiff to line break, he makes it.
He makes it, yeah. He doesn't miss. Yeah.
So that's huge. So I'm happy as an owner, but yeah, probably the other two above him.
The other thing that worries me about him, and it's weird that a hooker could impact a winger so much, but they're just a different team without Jeremy Marshall-King.
He's their everything, isn't it?
He's their MVP.
Where it all
It's
starts.
wild how important he is to that side. So if he's out,
There's some worrying signs.
there's a lot of worrying signs, yeah. But, I mean, fuck, how many worrying signs were there at the start of the season for Osaka?
Yeah.
Look what he's done.
And even
So
the last few weeks, like JMK hasn't played them all, and Osaka's still scoring well.
he's scoring okay. Yeah, mate, even on bad weeks, he scores 50, which at the start of the season, we would have gone, how good's that?
Take
But now
50.
we hold him to a 70 standard.
Exactly.
Wild. Yeah.
Even
Like,
the last play of the day, last weekend
Yes,
against Brisbane, and Valence threw not a very good ball. Went behind me, dropped it, -2. If it's in front of him, it's probably a line break. He potentially scores, and he potentially has a couple of tackle busts.
it's
Then
the
he's 90.
difference of 14, 16, 18 points.
Yeah.
When you take into consideration.
Had the line break,
he dropped it.
try, tackle bust, and goal. Like, that's what he can do for you. So,
Huge. Yeah. I don't mind it. Take us to tier 2. Who you got in there?
Tier 2, Tiki Wilton.
Yep.
Spoke about him already. Valid concerns, though. So, interesting on the defensive edge. Going into the finals, what do the Sharks do? They can't just keep doing the same
Can't keep doing
thing.
this. Yeah.
Hopefully.
But you know what the problem is with the Sharkies? And I'll just go through their draw now. I've got a feeling that they don't play too many top 8 teams coming into finals. So, like, I wonder how many. I'll just double check that.
I want to know when their next tough game is.
The next 3 weeks are Tigers, Warriors, Manly.
You know, it would be telling if the Warriors beat them by, 15 or 16 points.
And
they
it's in
go,
Mount
this
Smart,
just isn't
so-
working for us.
Yeah.
Manly as well, like they're sort of, obviously Turbo's gone, but they're not down and out either. So,
Just thinking about that Warriors game, though, like they'll be going up against. Yeah, they'll be going up against their right edge. They could get torched there, couldn't they?
SJ could be on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good test, but I think it's a massive call for the coaching staff of, do we go to the finals and probably bow out because our defence isn't up to scratch, or do we try train something and give it time to properly gel?
Yeah.
So there's some big question marks for the Sharkies, and I'm excited to see basically how it unfolds.
I will say this about Wilton and his defence. I've been saying this since round 5, and they haven't made the change. So maybe it doesn't happen.
Yeah, maybe it
I don't
happens
know.
next year in
Maybe
round
it is,
10,
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Other guys, Will Kennedy at the back there, still scoring really well. Some good games coming up. He worries me a little bit against really quality sides, but in saying that, his work rate's lifted this year. He's running the ball pretty hard and often, so I like him. He's got upside,
Yeah.
no doubt about that.
I feel like we'll be describing Will Kennedy in the exact same way in 5 years' time, too.
Yeah.
And he's always just going to be that dude that's appealing, but I don't know.
For sure, right? Tarpany, a lot of us own him, but if you don't, he's a great one to jump on. You could nearly bump him to tier 1 if you want as well. It's only the round 20 bye that probably hurts him a little bit.
Yeah.
As long as you can cover him, Tarpany's a good solid option for the run home.
Even though he's got the round 20 buy, surely with Horsburgh and Josh Papali'i out this week, I'd be seriously considering buying him still.
Yeah, so I really like him. But he could he's a tier 1.5. Let's put him in there. Hutto Young, he's got a point to prove.
Mate, who's the back rower marking Hudson Young this week?
Good luck,
I don't know
mate.
who it is, but fuck, you're in for it. Dragons, so who would that be? He'll be on the left, Dragons right edge. Is that Jaden Saw?
Well, it's actually the side was no Ben Hunt this week.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I was going to say it's the side that didn't get decimated last week, so that's something. But Ben Hunt's now out. Yeah,
I'll be in for it.
they'll be
Ready
under
to go,
Hutto.
Hutto. Yeah.
He'll be taking one. So same thing, around 20, if you can cover him there. Looks a pretty juicy little number for the run home for this weekend. And then just the Tigers boys, Isaiah Papali'i and Johnny Bateman. I think they're both really good buys as well. I bought Papali'i because I couldn't quite afford Bateman.
Yeah.
We know his pedigree. We know how good he can be. Whilst he's not quite at his damaging best at the moment, he's still really busy. And the new halves seem to use him a lot more than they were previously.
Yeah.
With like Brooks and Dewey and stuff in the side. So I'm reasonably happy with him. I just need, same thing we spoke about before, need Tigers to compete a little bit to get games into a grind so he can get through some work and possibly crash over for a few tries.
Well, I mean, on the weekend when he played 80 minutes, got beaten 74 to Blot, 48 in base.
Yeah.
Chuck in any attacking stats, which he's bound to get in games that are even.
Like
Looking all right again.
Even without the attack, that goes to in the 60s.
Yeah.
As soon as you're not under the post for
Yeah, that's true.
an
Yeah.
inordinate amount of time. So I'm pretty happy with him. I'm not assuming he's Papali'i of last year at Para.
Yeah.
But he's going to be a good solid number for me. For the
Jeez,
run home.
48 in base is a good knock in that game.
Bloody oath it is.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it until you said that then. Yeah.
That's it.
Wild.
And that's my boys, mate. Outside of that, I may have missed someone. But outside of those guys, I don't know if I'd be trading to get him in.
Well, we've got a few more guys we'll talk about in the questions, which we'll get stuck into now. But before we get to the questions, I had a thought sent in from one SuperCoach spy. Thought us away, my friend.
The spy. Okay, so I'm still not over Origin.
Shocked
as
me.
a lot of the Blues fans hopefully aren't.
Yeah.
It's been a tough month. Got tonsillitis, got crook again. It actually all coincided with Origin.
Yeah.
Is that a shock? Probably not. My thought is,
Thank God the cricket's been okay.
and maybe, Ashes has been an absolute saviour.
Saving grace.
So good. So my thought is, I don't know if it's come up before in chat. We talk about that Queensland mentality, right? Of like all together, which no one disputes. It's phenomenal.
Hate this conversation already.
They do it so well.
Yeah.
I was thinking about, I was flipping it a little bit, like, why are we not necessarily like that? For me, there's a little pretty obvious reason. I'd say it's not our fault, but I think we need to get better at it. Queensland had 3 sides come in, from the late 80s. They probably, there's no time to really grow hatred and rivalries. We're all Queenslanders. I'd suspect a lot of our Queensland listeners probably don't hate the opposition. If you go for Brisbane, you might hate the Cowboys or the Titans. Come to New South Wales, 100 years of rugby league rivalry, Sharks versus Saints, hatred. Yeah. You know, like Western derbies, like Manly are hated because that's just how it goes. There's all this history, 100 years worth of history of just hatred, and it's awesome because that's rugby league. Yeah. Like it's passion. It's a lot harder for New South Wales then to go, just 3 weeks a year though, you're all together as one. It's like, hang on, that's not actually that easy to do from a natural sense because not everyone does it, that's a lie, but so many people are like, I want the Saints player to go well. I want the Penrith player to go well. I don't like Penrith. I hope Cleary doesn't play well. Like, hang on, New South Wales guys, we've got to band together. So that's my reason for it. I don't know if it's been noted, but it makes a lot of sense. I was just sitting there thinking about it.
I'll tell you a story. I went to every grand final from 03 to 2019, something along those. I missed 1 or 2 in that time. And after every grand final, especially ones that were all Sydney grand finals, South Sydney, Canterbury, for example, I remember after that it was just fucking chaos. It felt like fights were about to erupt at any given moment. Penrith Roosters, exactly the same in 03. I remember being a kid being that fucking terrified. Then the year after that, Roosters Bulldogs, that was a living nightmare. Yeah. But mate, I will never forget the night after the 2015 grand final.
All Queensland?
All Queensland. It was the best atmosphere of a game I've ever been at. It's obviously one of the greatest finishes to a game ever. But I remember walking out there and genuinely, Brisbane Broncos fans were doing nothing but celebrating for the Cowboys.
Just happy
when they were absolutely devastated. And you got to remember for Broncos fans, like the vast majority since '88, they grew up winning a comp every 2 years. It's been 10 years since they won a comp.
Yeah.
And they were and I remember I was standing at the bar at not the Locker Room Hotel, whatever the pub is across there.
Under the Novotel.
Under the Novotel, yeah. And I was standing there and there was a Cowboys fan who had 2 trays of beers, in Sydney, $1,000 or whatever it would be, take out a loan. And he's standing there and there was a Brisbane guy behind him. And I was standing there and I watched it all happen. He grabbed the Cowboy guy and pulled him back. And I thought, oh, here we go. Stinks on here. And he goes, I'll get it for you, mate. Congratulations. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I just went, that would never, ever happen with 2 Sydney clubs. No way.
That's it. And you know what? And it shouldn't.
It shouldn't.
Yeah, 100% I don't want it to.
Yeah.
Like that rivalry and passion is what rugby league is. And that's just a bit of a thought of like, why is this the case? Now, what's the solution? I'm calling for...
Brad Fittler? Have I got it?
Don't start me. Don't start me. I'm calling for a pact. Much like in American Pie, when the boys band together, I want the whole state next year. Media, fans, the players are probably fine. I want everyone, not to mention clubs, for Origin period. I don't want to know how many Penrith players there are, how many there aren't, any of that. I just want New South Wales Blues player Hudson Young, New South Wales Blues player, buddy, whoever it may be. Let's just take the clubs out of it for Origin camp. Then go back to hating each other. I love it, but that just might start to change something a little bit in terms of like how we go about Origin and how we get to a better level from a culture and winning perspective, because Queensland aren't going anywhere and they're terrifying and we need to do something.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Best of luck getting the media to not mention it, especially the Penrith Panthers thing.
Easy
Very
task.
best of luck there. Yeah, shouldn't be too hard.
That should be enough, shouldn't it?
Yeah, we'll just send Buzz a pigeon. He'll listen to it.
Yeah, and it might be like something that's never going to happen, but if we could build towards that, I just think it all helps. Winning culture, bonding together, all that stuff helps.
It's wild when you're trying to find the solution to something that you truly can't find the problem for.
Yeah.
But you know what it should look like. That's across the other side of the fence. And
Yeah.
it's like Homer Simpson with the barbecue. We're just sitting there, what the fuck is going on? Why can't, yeah. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
If not, let's pick the best side possible, get our rotations right and bring it to them.
Maybe.
I've actually worn, I do have underneath.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah, very good.
Couldn't come without it. So it's
blue.
The blue.
Love that. All right, let's get some questions from you guys. First one comes from Matty Diamond Pro. Is Mulatalo a must-have this week? Not owning him scares me. I am buying him. I think he's close to a must-have. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, essentially a must-have.
Yep.
What he will do for you is score nearly every bloody game, get you 60 to 80 or 90. Like all wingers, he's probably got a 30 in him, but you know what he does have in him, which hasn't quite happened yet? It's got to be a 150 coming at some stage this year, and you don't want to be off him when that happens.
Yeah. You have a look at his last 10 games. 61, 67, 97, 73, 55, 65, 51, 73, 60, 87. Give you the hot tip, nothing under 50 there.
That's it.
Love that.
And
you're
maybe
right,
not
that
150,
big score's coming.
But even a 120, still huge.
And you look at the next three weeks, Tigers, Warriors, Manly. Warriors, obviously not an ideal matchup there, but that Tigers, Manly. Love that. He's still got Titans to come, Newcastle to come. I like it. He's also got, I don't think the Sharkies are going to be in a position to be resting guys and shit at the back end. I think he'll play the vast majority of games. So I think he's a must-have.
Must-have. Agree.
All right, next question comes from Riley Milton. Love this. What to do with Jeremy Marshall King? Non-owner?
Thankfully not owner, because I'm a huge fan of him.
Love him.
I went to get him for round 13 and I can't remember what happened. For whatever reason, I avoided him. You beauty.
Yeah, how good, yeah. And I love Jeremy Marshall King and I want the Dolphins to do well, but I would love for him to be a late scratching this week for SuperCoach and nothing more, because it's the last game of the week and, oh, my God, it would break some hearts out there. And that's where you would get panic stations, and I can't wait to see the percentage of people that trade in fucking Sam Verrills or something wild on Sunday afternoon. It'd be unreal.
It's all going to happen. So, obviously, if he plays, all good. You just stick with him.
Yep.
Hope that shoulder gets through another week. If he doesn't, depends on your numbers. If you've got your anywhere over 10, you just roll with it.
Yeah.
But even if that took you from 10 to 9 or something, what do you do?
I think you just cop it.
The only thing I could say is maybe you preemptively get ahead of next week and go to a Harry Grant if you don't own him. Get ahead of the game. Harry's got the run home. He's healthy at the moment. He does have to play Origin 3 because it might open up things the following week with regards to like Cleary, for Feeder if he's coming off limited Origin minutes. You might be able to strike double up there. So, yeah, it's tricky though, mate. Otherwise, do nothing.
Yeah, I think with Jeremy Marshall King, let's set the scene. Sunday, 4:05 p.m. That means that Saturday, 4:05 p.m. might be the earliest we know that he's out. If so, your only options then will be Brendan Hands, Wade Egan, fucking Havili.
Yeah. What's Egan cost at the moment?
Havili?
Nah, Wade Egan, sorry.
I'll get it up for you.
He's probably the only one I'd consider, but they do have possibly a bench hooker this week.
Is it worth a trade?
No, I'd probably just rather wait for Harry.
What's Wade Egan going to get you this week that makes it worthwhile of a trade to have another hooker you don't want?
Yeah. In saying all this, if you've got like 15, 16 trades, that's when you could afford to do it.
Different situation.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if you've like the vast majority and you know you're a bit short on trades, just look who you need to get back into your side, take them off your trades and then make your decision. But yeah, it's just an unfortunate one, isn't it?
Yeah. So from, Wade Egan's last two games where he played 68 and 80 minutes, he got 43 and 37 points. So if that's worth a trade for you, sure, go ahead.
Scrap that.
I'd wait until all the hookers are available, cop the 40 points you'll be without and move on there.
Pick your best.
Yeah. Okay, next one comes from Jackson Coles. Is Gutho a sell or a keep? I've got him. You don't. Didn't expect him to be picked for Origin, which isn't ideal. He's got another bye coming up in round 27.
Yep, so still a while.
Still a while. I love what Gutho's doing at the moment.
So do I.
I think I'm going to hold him. I think Buller's my biggest sell.
Yeah, some would say that a bit of my 3-week free fall might have something to do with Gutho scoring about 500 in that time.
Potentially.
Yeah. 3 tons in a row.
Yep.
Won't be goal kicking, but he's got the Titans next week. He just hold for now.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I just definitely hold, in fact.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be without Gutho this week, and if you're one of them, there's a lot of people in your same boat, and you just wear it, move on.
For sure.
Now, the other guy I mentioned there was Buller. Now, this one comes from Matty L. Is Buller a sell? Now, I hadn't really thought too much about it because I want the player for this weekend, but you had me second-guessing this morning. You made some good points. Take us through those.
My biggest concern with Buller is, are the Tigers going to get back to being somewhat competitive? We just don't know, do we?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying will they win multiple games and all the rest. It's more like, are they going to get lapped 50 every week for the rest of the season while they sort out this rebuild toward next year? If they do, it'll be very hard for Buller to score too many points. Field position as well. Like what I noticed last weekend was half his points come from just incredible kick chase. Sorry, incredible kick return, tackle busts. He gets line breaks off those here and there, and it sets an awesome base for him. But the way their forwards were getting rolled, he caught everything as he was getting swamped, which leads to errors, no tackle points, no tackle busts, and that's why he got 12, not through lack of effort.
The thing that worries me, as much as this kid is a superstar and I love watching him play footy, if they get a couple of big scores put on him and he just starts to lose confidence week by week,
and
it could just get ugly.
Do they sit him then at some point? Not
it
to
worth
say he's
him
not
being
doing
out
well.
there?
It's like, hey, wait, just have a rest.
Yeah.
You've got a big future ahead. So there's one big concern that I haven't noted. This wouldn't worry me if his break even was 60 this week. It's about 140 or something. Yeah. If he does get 20 or 30 again, you lose 100K, then you're near stuck with him. We've got to do something sideways that isn't ideal or fun trades to go up. That's what really hurts.
And that's where, if he comes out this week and he scores 30 points and he loses 100K, would you have been better off not having that 30 points and having that 100K put to your Nathan Cleary fund, which you might need next week?
In a world where he was to lose 100K and score 100, then I go, oh, take the 100. That's fine. You can deal with that, but not 30 or 40. It's a big double hammer blow.
Yeah.
If you do hold him, so I own him, you want to hope, well, I think you're holding him for the run afterwards. He's got some better games coming up. So I think you're holding him for a month and reassessing once like Latrell's potentially back and things like that.
If you were to sell Buller, who are you selling him to?
I'm selling him to Ponga.
To Ponga, okay.
Only about 115K more.
Yeah, see, like, I've already got KP, so I don't know who I'd go to and whether that means that I maybe...
You go Buller to Mulatalo, okay? Flip up a 7
I could go,
fullback.
yeah, actually, that's not a bad idea. I could push one of my CTWs down, and that would leave me with 11 players this week, but I'd sort of be happy to wear that.
One to consider.
That might actually be what I was going to sell Billy Smith originally, but that might be the play.
Yeah, Billy, you're going to sell?
I was going to sell Billy to Mulatalo, maybe Buller.
Yeah, because the issue with Billy is he's just so cheap.
Yeah.
You're not getting much value from it.
Exactly, yeah.
And if he comes back, he's the kind of bloke you can just sit there. If you need to play him, you can. It's okay. He's got to try him. So Buller, go on.
Got me thinking. The other one I traded in Ty Munro last week. I went early on him. I was just very confident. But yeah, if you're in a position where you could go Buller to Ty Munro,
beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, interesting times.
Just on Munro.
Yeah,
Devil's mentioned it all during the week, but the catch he took, chasing a bomb on the last over his right shoulder in the wet in the dark, I nearly fell off my chair.
Freak,
and he did it so easily.
He's one of those guys, and you'll understand. He's one of those guys that he plays Harold Matts, and he's too good for that. Then he goes to SG Ball, and he finds another level. Every time he goes up, he finds another level. Ty,
Something
very
special about him. So very exciting stuff.
Yeah,
mate.
very good. Last question. This is a guy who I didn't even have on my radar. Wasn't even thinking about him. This one comes from Junior Glover, and it also comes from about 15 other people. Brian Kelly, as a pod this week, and Brian Kelly just in general, a lot of people considering him. For me, mate, Brian Kelly has always been a very, very talented player. I've always loved him. I've never been confident enough to really go him in SuperCoach Classic. I've drafted him a few times. What's your initial reaction to Brian Kelly?
I definitely don't hate it. He's outside for Fido, well, not this week, but moving forward, he was rotated out a few weeks ago. But, I mean, if that happens in the run home, you're probably not stuck with playing him. You've got 4 other good centres. just wonder if he lacks upside. I'd probably rather maybe save my funds for a bit more of an elite gun. But in saying that, he's averaging over 60. Whilst I certainly don't hate it, I also don't love it. But yeah, if you need a number, it'd be a solid number.
Just looking at his run home. Plays the Dolphins this weekend, which is very, very appealing. But you're also looking at a Titans team without the 3 big forwards. Yeah. That'll make a huge difference to that side. So then he's got Para, Roosters, Cowboys, Warriors, Sharks, Penrith, Melbourne. Finishes with the Bulldogs, which is nice at the end there. But, geez, there's a lot of handy teams in the mix there. Parramatta in good form at the moment. Cowboys finding great form. The Warriors, they haven't been a train wreck this year. Sharkies, Penrith, Melbourne. A lot of tough games in there.
It is tough. You know what I'll do, just to make it real simple? I reckon he'll average 58 to finish the year. So if that suits your team, go for it. If it doesn't and you want more upside, we'll go from there.
He feels like a very good player to just plug and play on any given week when there's a good matchup.
But there aren't any, are there?
I'm not sure how many times over the next few weeks I'll play him. And even the Dolphins one this weekend, I'm not super confident because of the guys they're missing.
Yeah, it's a different ball game.
Yeah. So it's actually a no from me. I
know.
I
wouldn't buy him, but I don't hate it.
Yeah.
He could do a solid job for you.
All right, trade skippers. We've sort of spoken about our trades already, mate, the directions we're going, and you've given me another headache to deal with, which is fantastic. Just what I needed.
I don't know if I noted by him. Yeah,
headache from someone from the SC Playbook. Shock me.
Shocking.
Every week.
Got to keep you on your toes.
I leave here every Wednesday with less idea than what I was going to do than when I came in here. It's unreal. Captains, mate. Nico Hines. Is it the same thing all over again? Rinse and repeat?
If 100% don't, well, actually VC Nico, because it's the loop.
Oh, you can, of course, yes.
Just for those out there, especially newer players, on a bye week, you can vice-captain someone in that early game, being Nico Hines. If for some reason something happens, or he gets hurt and he gets 20, you then get another shot at your captain later in the weekend. So that's fine. Assuming he scores 100+, which he almost certainly will, then you basically just put the captain on one of your non-players in your side there. We're bound to have a couple, and then you just double his points. So that's where I'll be going. I haven't really looked ahead to a skipper if something goes wrong with Nico, but it's not great, actually. Maybe Hopgood or someone.
Let's look ahead. Let's say Nico, HIA.
Yep, early HIA, gone.
Panic stations, what are we doing? I think if you got Joe Tapine, he becomes appealing to me.
Definitely.
For a big game.
Hard to fully trust his minutes.
It is.
But what he will do for you in at least 50, 55 is probably get you 65+ points.
He's got to play more than that.
You'd think so.
Without Papali'i, without Horsburgh, and I'm sorry, they don't know how to win by more than 8 points, he's got to play decent minutes.
Yeah. Sure. Well, he played those massive minutes at lock about a month ago.
Yeah.
He nearly played 80. So hopefully more of the same.
Yeah. If you said 50 or 80, I reckon he's going to be closer to 80 this week.
Yeah, 65-ish.
Yeah. And one HIA, he's the first guy Ricky's going to go, hey,
need ya.
I just need it this week. Just do it. Tapine, very interesting. Hopgood, as you said, always a good shout. Mate, outside of that, the vast majority of my guys play on Thursday night.
That's it. All the other options are Thursday night. So it'd be interesting if it does happen. Everyone in the same boat.
Yeah. It's going to be a wild week. How good. All right, mate. Off the top there, I forgot to mention the top scorers for this week from the Beers and Break-Evens page. I'm into 2,000 on that. The guy that top score, well, actually, we'll go through the group at the moment. So coming first in our group is James, the raging pole. Love that. Having a good time. Jamesy is second overall in SuperCoach, first in Beers and Break-Evens. And then we've got Ryan, the financial panther. He's coming third overall in SuperCoach, second in our group. So 2 boys in the top 3 there leading our group. So if you manage to take home that 50K, you can put another 5K on it, 55K. And if you're an NRL club member, the great Tony Hayek's chucking you an extra 500 scunjos. So not bad there. Looking at the top 100 in SuperCoach overall at the moment, we've got 42 of them at the moment. So doing well, the Beers and Break-Evens group flying. And the top scorer this week was the Rockville Renegades. That's Lachlan's team. Not a sniper team either. Overall rank 4,497, so doing good things. Good God, he scored 1,845.
That's insane.
What a knock. He beat the next best by 30 points. Wild. So Lachlan, interestingly enough, Lachlin. I have not seen a Lachlan with an IN at the end before. Unique. I love it. Send an email to beersandbreakevens@gmail.com, mate. We can get that sorted. We'll get you a hat out and we'll get a footy coming your way as well. So congratulations, brother. Great knock. 1,845. I'll give you the hot tip, Spy. If I scored 1,845, I think I'd probably delete the app and go out on top.
You'd nearly have to.
I think I'd George Costanza it and go, thanks.
You'd have to. I think you'd have to retire.
It is an unbelievable score and it shan't be getting better than that.
That'd be all time and surely and probably stay all time.
Without a doubt. I think so.
It's like Usain Bolt running 9.54.
Yes.
9.58, sorry.
Hard to top. Very hard to top. All right, mate. I think we're done and dusted.
All done?
Yeah, how good.
Thanks for having me. It's actually as good you made the call because I actually needed someone this week. Well, obviously at my darkest hour at the moment. Tim's run away to Europe.
Yeah.
I guess it's like at times like these, you need someone who you're happy to have next to you in the trenches.
Yeah.
It's not him.
It's not him. Well, mate, I actually thanks for joining me in my brightest hour because Tim's not here.
There you go.
I had a great time. So it's worked out well.
So you've helped get me through it. And I appreciate that. I think it's like blokes like us. You're probably born like that way. It's not so much a knock on Tim because he wasn't born like us. So
either get it or you don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. So it's been good fun, mate. I've really enjoyed it. Hope you get a chance again another time.
Been unreal, mate. How good.
Before social media goes crazy, I'm very good mates with Timmy Williams. Don't you worry.
Good mates. You kind of look like him. All right. Thanks for joining us, mate. Thanks for joining us all on Beers and Break Evens this week, guys. If you'd like to reach out to Blue Wealth Property, the link is in the description on the YouTube, or reach out to myself on Instagram, or reach out to Tim, interrupt his holiday and ask him about whatever. I'm sure he would love that. Also brought to you by Bloke in a Bar, guys. Go out and grab yourself a case of Bloke this week. Kemby dropped those jumpers on Monday night and they went in absolute record time. I think they were gone in 10 minutes or something. So you guys absolutely snatched them up and they are crackers. Thanks for joining us once again, guys, and we'll see you next week.